Soldier Lee Dongmin's name suddenly became the center of attention of the South Korean public, not because of the spotlight of the entertainment world, but because of his unexpected role as a military storyteller in the program 그날군대이야기, That Day Military Story, on KFN TV, an official channel under the National Defense Public Relations Agency. The figure widely known to the public as Cha Eun-woo, a K-pop idol and top actor, now appears in military uniform not as a star, but as a soldier who tells stories calm, honest, and full of meaning. Since the first trailer aired, the atmosphere of the program felt different. No excessive dramatization, no flashy visual effects. Present was only the voice of a soldier who told simple stories from military life about the first day in the barracks, about long silent nights, about unspoken homesickness, and about the small pride that grows slowly as a person learns to take responsibility not only for himself, but for the country and his comrades. Lee Dongmin appeared as the narrator in a style that surprised many. His voice is low, stable, and full of emotional control. Every word that comes out as if it has been carefully thought out, not to touch the camera, but to touch the heart. Many viewers claimed that they did not feel like they were watching a famous idol, but an ordinary soldier who happened to have a soothing voice and a very human way of speaking. The program highlights the personal side of South Korea's military life, not just about physical training or hard discipline, but about the little moments that often go unnoticed by the public. Lee Dongmin's presence as a storyteller brings a new dimension, an emotional bridge between civil society and the military world that often feels distant and rigid. And one of the most talked about segments, Lee Dongmin tells of a rainy night in the barracks. He described how the sound of rain dripping on the tin roof mixed with the footsteps of the night watchman's shoes, creating a strange but soothing rhythm. He talks about fear that never really goes away, about fatigue that cannot always be expressed, and about how the soldiers learn to calm down only by understanding each other without many words. Many viewers said they were speechless, even moved to tears, because the story felt so close to their own life experiences, whether as former soldiers, family members of soldiers, or ordinary citizens who had felt lonely. What makes Lee Dongmin's role even stronger is his awareness of not putting himself above others. He does not speak as a celebrity who went down to the military, but as a soldier who is learning, falling, rising, and growing with his comrades. This attitude received widespread praise, including from the military themselves, who judged that its presence helped to change the public's perception of conscription, not as a burden, but as a character-forming phase of life. The National Defense Public Relations Agency officially called Lee Dongmin's participation part of efforts to strengthen warmer and empathic public communication. By choosing a figure who had great influence but was able to withstand ego and personal spotlight, the agency managed to present a more human face of the military. The program doesn't just convey information, it builds empathy, an approach that's increasingly important in the fast-paced, distraction-filled digital age. The public response was incredible. Clips of Lee Dongmin's narration went viral on various social media platforms, with comments reflecting shock and respect. Many write that they saw for the first time such a soft and reflective side of the military. There are also parents who claim to be calmer about imagining their children serving in the army after watching the program. Even some former soldiers call these impressions frank reminders of their past, not always beautiful but full of meaning. For Lee Dongmin himself, this role seemed to be a point of personal reflection. In the way he chose the words, in the silent pauses he allowed, it was felt that this program was not just an additional task, but an experience that he lived wholeheartedly. He does not try to hide vulnerability, but also does not exploit emotions. It is this balance that makes the narrative feel sincere and resonate strongly. Interestingly, many media observers judged that Lee Dongmin's transformation from a global idol to a military storyteller marked a new phase of maturity in his public image. He is no longer seen only as a visual symbol or popularity, but as an individual capable of conveying collective stories with responsibility and empathy. In the context of South Korean culture, it has great symbolic weight, illustrating how celebrities can contribute to the national narrative without losing personal identity. The 그날군대이야기 program is now touted as one of KFN TV's most emotionally impactful shows in recent years. This success cannot be separated from the right choice of storyteller, honest narrative approach, and the courage to display reality without excessive polish. Lee Dongmin, with all his calmness and maturity, became the face that represents a generation of young soldiers who think, feel, and care. In the end, soldier Lee Dongmin's presence as a military storyteller is not just about one television program. It's about how stories, when told with sincerity, are able to change perspectives, bridge distances, and remind us that behind uniforms, ranks, and rules, there are ordinary people with extraordinary stories. And through 그날군대이야기, that voice is now heard more clearly than ever. The silence that often appears on the sidelines of Lee Dongmin's narrative is actually the biggest strength of his role as a storyteller. Amid a broadcasting world typically filled with dramatic background noise and explicit emotional settings, he chose a near-contradictory approach, letting the story breathe on its own. In each brief pause before he goes on to the next sentence, the audience is invited into the reflection room as if they were sitting with him, listening to the story directly from a soldier who had just returned from night duty. Many recognized that Lee Dongmin's manner of speaking reflected the military discipline that had shaped him. The sentences are concise, not verbose but full of meaning. It does not seek to patronize or infer explicitly what the audience should feel. Instead, he allowed the stories to stand on their own, leaving room for each person to interpret according to their individual life experiences. This is what makes the program feel so personal despite being broadcast nationally. And another episode that later became much talked about, Lee Dongmin told the story of a fellow soldier who always got up early to make his team's bed. No names, no faces are shown, just a simple description of the hands working in silence. He did not refer to the act as a great sacrifice, but rather as a small custom that slowly formed trust among the soldiers. The story, although brief, describes an essence of military life that is rarely shown. Solidarity that grows out of the simplest things. The audience's emotional response to segments like this shows how powerful a storyteller's role is in shaping public perception. Many commented that they felt closer to the soldiers after hearing the stories. Not because of exaggerated heroism, but because of honestly displayed humanity. Lee Dongmin, without the need to mention his background as a public figure, manages to present a point of view that feels authentic and grounded. The KFN TV party itself considers that Lee Dongmin's presence brings significant changes in the way audiences interact with their content. Audience numbers increased, but more important was the quality of the response. Instead of just watching, many viewers wrote letters, sent messages, and shared their personal stories about military experiences or about families who were serving in the military. The program turned into a space of emotional dialogue between the military and civil society. Interestingly, Lee Dongmin never put himself at the center of the story. He always emphasized that the stories belonged to the soldiers collectively. This attitude reinforces the impression that he really understands his role, not as a highlighted star, but as an intermediary who conveys the voices of many. In this context, his status as a famous figure is precisely a tool to expand the reach of the story, not to assert himself. Observers of popular culture in South Korea see this phenomenon as a rare example of the harmonious integration of the entertainment world and state institutions. Usually, this kind of collaboration is prone to be regarded as propaganda. However, the intimate and reflective 그날군대이야기 approach, coupled with Lee Dongmin's presence of refraining from glorification, makes the program welcome as emotional documentation, rather than a one-way message.